The first game on our most wanted list for 2024 is First Victories, Wellington vs. Napoleon. The designer is Terry Doherty. The publisher is Lock and Load. And there's currently no BGG rating or complexity weight, as this game was crowdfunded on GameFound. I've already paid for it, just waiting for my copy. So this game will actually be my first true Hex Encounter Napoleonic period game. Crazy, I know. So why did I choose this game to be my first Hex Encounter Napoleonic game with so many choices out on the market? A couple of reasons. First one being Lock and Load. I like the quality of their games, and this being a new series and a new set of rules, I figured I could jump in without having to go through the various permutations of other systems' rule sets and get a taste for the Napoleonic time period. And the main reason is actually because I watched a few videos by Hex to Hex, and he did a great job of highlighting this game and his detailed analysis of gameplay and the way the system works. Really sold the whole Glory and Empire system to me. There will be links in the description to Hex's videos. I highly recommend, if you haven't watched his stuff, he is a master of the after action report. Go check him out. The second game in our list is The Hunters, German U-Boats at War, 1939-1943. Designer is Gregory M. Smith. Publisher, Consim Press, and then GMT Games. This has a BGG rating of 7.7 and a complexity weight of 2.54. This was published in 2013. So I've committed to the fourth printing of The Hunters on the P500 list with GMT Games. I have a soft spot for solo narrative style war game, as well as submarine games, as you'll find out more about later in this list. One of my all-time favorite movies is Das Boot. And even though I already own Silent Victory, which totally scratches my itch for my bias to the Pacific Theater, I had to get a copy of The Hunters, Gregory Smith's first game that started off this franchise. I was introduced to the series through Zilla Blitz's campaign playthrough of Silent Victory, and I will leave a link in the description to Zilla's channel and the beginning of that campaign. Zilla really leans into the narrative aspect of the game system, and it's an extremely enjoyable watch. I am really looking forward to adding this one to my collection. And you can expect to see some gameplay videos of The Hunter on my channel later in the year. The third game in our list, France 40, 2nd edition. Designer Mark Simonich, artist Mark Simonich, and publisher GMT Games. This is a re-implementation of France 40, published in 2013, that had a BGG rating of 7.7 and a complexity weight of 2.87. I've got this on P500 and looking forward to getting my hands on it. France 40 actually contains two separate games. Sickle Cut, or officially known as the Manstein Plan or Case Yellow, and Dynamo, which deals with the Dunkirk evacuation. Both games use the same rule set, many of the same components, but each has its own separate full-size map. I find this period of the war and this theater extremely interesting. I love the aesthetics of the French tanks that look like they would have dominated the battlefield in World War I and are left as a footnote in World War II, and unable to cope with the blitzkrieg tactics of the Germans as they raced across France. This game made my most wanted list, partially because of the Char B1 on the cover of the box, but also because I don't have any games that highlight this time frame of the war, and like I said, I'm very intrigued by it. The fourth game on our list is Zeppelin Raider, Imperial German Navy Airships. The designer is Gregory Smith, publisher Compass Games. This has a BGG rating of 7.7 and a complexity weight of 2.65. This game was published in 2019. Zeppelin Raider has been on my want list for almost 2 years. I was first exposed to this game from one of the very first YouTuber wargamers that I was watching, Solo Boardgaming. I will have a link in the description to his playthroughs of this game. But as soon as I saw it, I was hooked. This was a game I had to get. It's solo, it's narrative, and it's Zeppelins. That's just cool to me. Zeppelin Raider is also based on Gregory Smith's The Hunters game, which is also on this list, which you've already seen. And so I'm looking forward to playing this. And it looks like in the gameplay, even just flying across the channel and back without doing any bombing can be a challenge unto itself. This to me looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. This past year I also picked up a Strategy and Tactics magazine. Number 159, its featured game is Zeppelin. There's a short on my channel for this game, but I will leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. Also, if you guys know of any other World War I Zeppelin games that are published, please leave that in the comments for me. This has now become like Pokemon for me. I gotta catch them all. The fifth game on our list is Wolfpack. The North Atlantic Convoy Struggles, October 1941 through March 1943. Game designer is Mike Botticelli. Publisher is GMT Games. It has a BGG rating of 7.8 and a complexity weight of 2.00. And the game was published in 2022, although I think it's still in P500 as of December 2023. As I was saying, solo narrative submarine game? Yes, please. Although this one has a bit of a twist in that it's a 1 to 4 player game and you are managing a wolf pack. So if you do play it solo, you're going to have 2 to 4 subs that you're running, and if you're playing multiplayer, you each will control 1 to 2 subs depending on the number of players in the game. I first learned about this game on the YouTube channel Tony's Board Life, where Tony and Mike and Nerd Workshop were doing some live playtesting sessions. So if you're interested in checking that out, I'll leave a link in the description. This is another game you should expect to see some gameplay from in 2024 on the channel. The sixth game on our list, Enemy Action Kharkov. Designer John Butterfield. Publisher Compass Games. Has a BGG rating of 8.9 and a complexity weight of 3.87. Game was published in 2022. So there are a number of reasons why this game made my list. The first reason is because it's rather unique in that it's a solo game where you can play either the Germans or the Russians, and it is also a 2-player game. I think this is going to allow me to play this game both solo, either side, and then I've got some non-wargaming friends that I might be able to get to play the game in the 2-player version. The ability to play either side solo or play it as a 2-player game, in my opinion, this game packs a lot of value. Second reason is it's the Eastern Front. I don't have a ton of Eastern Front games, and looking at this system with Enemy Action Ardennes, this one just nicked it simply because it's an Eastern Front game. Now, having said all that, I still could choose Enemy Action Ardennes when I go to checkout. And third, it's a John Butterfield design. I don't think I need to say more than that. The seventh game on our list is Aces of Valor. Designer Eric von Rossing. Publisher Legion Games. This has a BGG rating of 8.2, a complexity weight of 2.5, and it's published in 2022. As some of you are aware, World War I air combat is one of my favorite gaming periods. So I've started to build up a nice little collection of World War I air combat games. And again, this one being solitaire, having a bit of narrative to it, ticks those boxes for me. Also, because I'm designing my own World War I air combat game, I like to see how other designers handle the gameplay experience, handle missions, how they handle the narrative aspect of the game, and character progression. Again, being solo, narrative, and World War I air combat, this game will find a place on my table and also playthroughs on the channel. I'm looking forward to this one, guys. The eighth game on our list is Night Fighter Ace, Air Defense over Germany, 1943 to 1944. Designer, Gregory Smith and Joe Grandera. Publisher, Compass Games. This has a BGG score of 8.3 and a complexity weight of 2.29. The game was published in 2018. So we have another Gregory Smith design. Apparently I like his stuff. This subject matter, night fighting and aircraft, is very intriguing to me. I don't think I have any games that cover this topic. This game also fits into the solo narrative style game. Hey, I like what I like. Night Fighter Ace is another game based on the Hunter's system. And from a game designer's point of view, I'm really interested to see how Gregory Smith has taken one basic system and been able to span it over multiple gaming topics. Our ninth game, Panzer North Africa. Designers James Day and Fernando Solo Ramos. Publisher GMT Games. This has a BGG rating of 9.7. Complexity weight 4.0. This game was published in 2022, although I think it's still on P500. Panzer North Africa is probably my most anticipated game on this list. I was originally introduced to this series by Rough Swordsman Wargamer. I'll have a link in the description to his videos for Panzer, the first game in this series. One of the reasons I'm anticipating this game so much is it harkens back to one of the first war games I ever owned, which is Tobruk from Avalon Hill. I'm hoping that this game is kind of the grown-up version of Tobruk. Another thing about this game that I like is it's a standalone game and doesn't require that you own any of the previous games or modules in the Panzer series. And it also contains rules for solo play, which caught my attention, along with Italian, British, and German units, and 32 scenarios. The game has 6 double-sided geomorphic map boards, so that's a total of 12 maps, along with terrain overlays, so you can further customize the map. That really adds a lot of replayability. Have I mentioned how excited I am for this game? I'm pretty excited, guys. For the 10th game, I'm looking to you guys for suggestions. I've created a community poll with 4 games. Go over there and select one, or if you don't like those choices, put your suggestion in the comments on this video. I will let the poll run at least from January, February, March, at which point I will tally up the results and see which game you guys have selected for me. I'm looking forward for your input. And thanks for watching this list, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.